A very warm welcome to Encore on France 24 with me, Catherine Nicholson. Coming up for you today, Egyptian culture at a crossroads. We're meeting some of the young drivers of the new street art boom. We'll be taking a surreal stroll with you through Paris's Pompidou Centre. And we're getting swept up in all the buzz of the upcoming Muppets movie. Thanks very much for being with us. Now, in the week that Egypt voted on a new constitution, we're meeting some of the artists who are rewriting the country's cultural scene. 3 years on from the uprising that overthrew President Mubarak, young people have spearheaded the growth of street art, and Egypt's answer to rap music is now more popular than ever. The young people at the forefront of these homegrown arts say they're not just a passing fad, as Olivia Salazar-Winspear reports.
3 years ago, Cairo's walls, bricks and abandoned buildings had an entirely different aesthetic. With public self-expression curbed, graffiti was virtually non-existent. Today, it's a very different story, with political slogans and provocative murals flourishing on the city's streets and changing the visual landscape.
In the past, we used to be afraid to talk or draw on the walls because of what the state police could do to us. But now we have some freedom, and we use graffiti to get our message across.
Music, too, has seen a surge in popularity, with a new genre gaining ground in post-revolutionary Egypt. It's known as Mahrajanat. Its lyrics touch on the day-to-day struggles of unemployment, love, partying and politics, and you'll hear it everywhere from taxis to weddings to riverboat nightclubs. The style's unashamedly modern, but its promulgators say that despite its electronic production and pop overtones, the music transcends social categorization.
We've developed a collection of local songs that are accessible to everyone, the upper, middle and lower classes. We're able to reach everyone because we're offering something new, something everyone can relate to. Our songs speak to everyone.
Critics say the proliferation of this kind of street culture is a blip, a temporary consequence of young Egyptians' revolutionary fervour. But those involved say the music's now enjoyed for its own sake, and it's more than just an expression of current events.
Even though they say these songs were just a fashion, and that they'll eventually disappear, people are really listening to this music. And people also used to say that these were local songs, but today these local songs have reached everyone, everywhere.
A hybrid musical style which evokes the crossroads that Egypt finds itself at as the country's pulled in different directions, be them political, social or indeed cultural.
Well, some art here in Paris now. If you're planning an imminent visit to the National Modern Art Museum, the Pompidou Centre, do be prepared for an eccentric experience. It is currently staging a show on the surrealist movement and their haphazard world vision. Our art critic Sean Rose went to have a look and discovered their mix of dream and reality isn't necessarily all that different from the normal world around us.
Everyone knows life can be surreal when the situation gets weird, like having your feet caught in a chair inextricably. Modern life is full of surrealism. Contemporary design abounds with most bizarre objects. A bent espresso machine, a skull-shaped teapot.
This is the time when surrealism, in 1927, decided to join the rank of the Communist Party. And so the artists, the poets, are driven to find a solution to deal with this reality, which is, of course, the base and the purpose of revolution. The object is the way to subvert and to transform the real.
Inventor of nonsensical contraptions, Philippe Hamet is a worthy successor to surrealism. Ready for boarding, let's take off to the Pompidou Centre's exhibition. Show me a piece you really like and tell me why.
This work looks like an industrial prototype. It is a one-eyed glass for a cyclops, even though these creatures don't exist.
Here we have a bull's head by Pablo Picasso, dating from 1942. What do you think of this?
As an artist, I can't help thinking of the moment when an object has been conceptualized. Here, Picasso's put together two common or garden objects, a bicycle handlebar and a bicycle seat. I love the way you shift an object from its everyday life status to the status of artwork.
Surrealism seems to be everywhere, but also in the design and in the objects, which are our usual objects. They seem to be an object of desire. They seem to be like the surrealists used to call the object psycho-object. It means objects which are not based on their function and utilitarianism, but also objects of fantasy.
Once avant-garde, surrealism has moved from gallery to souvenir shop. Pencil, citrus squeezer, the surrealist object is now a product like any other.
There we go, Sean Rose with some great artistic souvenirs. We'll move on to some literature news now with a much hyped release of a novel about one of France's most notorious politicians, Dominique Strauss-Kahn, or DSK. The Ballad of Rikers Island by Régis Geoffrey is a fictionalised reimagining of the events of May 2011 and after. Now that's when hotel maid Nafissatou Diallo accused DSK of sexual assault. Geoffrey has written other novels based on real events before, including the Josef Fritzl case. For this one, he says he wanted to explore what he sees as the inherent racism surrounding the case and the treatment of Guinean migrant Diallo. Now, the film buffs among you will probably have noticed a flurry of features from Romania that have been garnering acclaim and festival prizes in recent years. The latest of them has now reached French cinemas. Child's Pose is a study of a controlling mother who sees herself as saving her son, who's accused of manslaughter. It won the director Kalin Peter Netzer the top prize at last year's Berlin Festival. That's the Golden Bear. Our reporter Julie Dungeloff travelled to Romania to find out more about the so-called Romanian New Wave.
It took more than 15 years after the fall of communism for Romanian filmmakers to start telling their own stories after years of censorship and state propaganda. Success came in 2005 when the film The Death of Mr. Lazarescu won a prize at the Cannes Film Festival. It tells the story of a sick, elderly man who, after being turned away from various hospitals, dies outside on the street.
The films that count for me are personal accounts. You're filming a person, and you manage to look at this other person and get the feeling that both of your hearts are beating at the same time.
Films that occupy the hinterland between documentary and cinema. These are stories based on real events presented against an unassuming background, a trademark aesthetic in today's Romanian films.
Stai liniștită, tu n-ai tu nicio obligație. Una e să mă ajut să stai cu mine și cu totul altceva e să... Dă-mi bani.
Cristian Mungiu's handheld camera work, lingering shots, and harrowing subject matter saw his film 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days take the Palme d'Or in 2007.
The themes are universal, but they've been reworked in a Romanian style.
Romanian style? What does it mean?
By a Romanian style, I mean with love and humour, and at the same time with a certain amount of intensity and lots of language. Talking, talking, talking.
Dar vreau să inversăm rolurile de acum.
And it's a cinema that exports well, because generally more people watch our films abroad than they do at home.
Indeed, few Romanians are regular cinema goers, and more movie theatres are closing their doors.
Well, just before we go, today is Oscar nomination day. Our cinema critic, Lisa Nettleson, will be updating you on which films, actors and directors are up for which awards and who's missed out as the announcements come in at 2:45 Paris time. We'll finish this show on a cinematic note too, with a tongue-in-cheek trailer for one of this year's most anticipated releases. Yes, it's the Muppets movie, Muppets Most Wanted. It features a host of stars, including Lady Gaga, alongside Kermit and Miss Piggy, of course. Now, it's out in the States in March and here in France in May. They have come up with a suitably Muppety way of advertising it. We'll leave you with that. Thanks very much for watching and see you soon.
Critics across the internet are outraged that Muppets Most Wanted was not nominated for over 247 awards.
Oh no.
That's terrible.
Hot Fudge 1218 says Muppets should have been nominated Best Picture for reals. Then Baby Bean 1128 proclaimed, it can be. It's not out yet. You're ignorant. So then Hot Fudge 1218 said, don't call me ignorant. You don't even know. Then Baby Bean 1128 replied, good. I don't even wanna know. And then Rich Playa 33 raved, I made $2,000 just sitting at home. Click this link to find out how.
Well, he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah. Humble and honest. Muppets Most Wanted, finally eligible for nominations March 21st at theaters everywhere.
Kissy, kissy!
Rated PG.